Thanks to everybody for coming out this afternoon. Certainly, opening day at Globe Life Field has been a long time coming, both for the organization and for the community. I can't wait for Rangers fans to actually be able to experience a traditional opening day in this fantastic new ballpark. First pitch on Monday is scheduled for 3:07 p.m. Parking lots will open at 11:30. Gates to the ballpark will open at 12 noon. And I think the best news I have here to offer today is that the weather forecast is for 82 degrees and sunshine, which means we intend to play that game under blue sky with an open roof. And in fact, that forecast continues over to Tuesday, so I expect at least the first two games of the Toronto series, weather permitting, and if that forecast doesn't change, will be played with the roof open as we just played the exhibition games of the past 2 days. So, as excited as we are to welcome Rangers fans back to the ballpark, our organization also understands that we are still in the midst of a global pandemic and that this is not the time to back away from the protocols that we've had in place for the past 12 months. These protocols have allowed us to safely welcome guests into this building and into Globe Life Park. The only health and safety adjustment we are making on opening day will be a reduction in social distancing in the seating bowl. Based on the governor's executive order of March 2nd, we're in position to sell all of our manifested seats. However, as a mitigation strategy for the reduced distancing, masks will be required of all fans, except when actively eating or drinking at their ticketed seats. This means that masks will be required for entry into Globe Life Field and should be worn when moving around the concourses. Based upon our experience from past events, we expect there to be good cooperation and adherence to the mask requirement from Rangers fans. And we saw that for the exhibition games. I mean, it's not perfect, but the vast majority of our fans are doing the right thing and wearing their masks. The additional mitigation strategies that we have in place, you've heard these all before. They haven't changed. They're the same directives that we've been getting from the CDC, from local health officials for a long time. Hand sanitizing stations, like the one I know is here in close proximity, are still available throughout the ballpark. Globe Life Field will be cashless, so that we can try to mitigate touch between the guest and the staff here. Distancing reminders are in place on the concourses, in the restrooms, retail, ingress locations, concession stands to remind people to do their part and stay 6 feet apart. The only bags that will be permitted into the ballpark, I do have one exception here. We will permit anyone who needs to bring a bag in for medical reasons, a manufactured diaper bag for an infant or a small child, and based on some customer feedback that we've gotten over the past week, we are going to permit purses and wallets no larger than 5 by 9, by 5 inches by 9 inches. Any bag that comes into the building is subject to search. So those bags will be subject to search. One small tweak there as we go forward for opening day. And then our enhanced cleaning and disinfecting protocols, again, that we've had in place in the building for the past 12 months remain in place. So in spite of the challenges that the pandemic presents, I mean, there is a safe way and a responsible way to conduct events. So we look forward to doing that, but we also understand it takes everybody's cooperation for it to be successful. We worked very closely with local public health officials here in the city of Arlington, physically in the seats with a tape measure, measuring distances to come up with a manifest for those graduations, which sort of got us started. When we got to baseball season, Major League Baseball provided, in working with MLB's infectious disease experts, which they still continue to work with, they provided us with a framework at that time for player health and safety, since we didn't have fans during the season. But even as we discussed the possibility of having fans last year, we were getting feedback from MLB on what we thought might or might not work, which then allowed us, when we got to October, to be able to host the National League Championship Series and the World Series. I think another thing that helped us was our staff. Our staff has followed the rules. We were concerned that we have a lot of older people that are retired and like to work at the ballpark, and they're great ambassadors, they're great customer service people. We were a little concerned about that age group last year, understanding that they might have been more susceptible to the virus. But through the playoffs, through the rodeo, through college baseball, high school baseball, and now the exhibitions, I mean, that group, we haven't had any issues, but it's because they've followed the rules. So I think that's been probably the most important thing we've learned, is that we can, we just have to, it's blocking and tackling, right? I mean, it really is just staying focused on those 3 W's. Wear your mask, watch your distance, wash your hands. I do think it was pretty cool after the World Series last year. Major League Baseball got together with the MLB Network and put together about a 3-minute video which showed highlights from Globe Life Field and the World Series last year. Actually interviewed fans, showed people doing their work, cleaning and taking, doing distancing at ingress and reminding fans in the seats. And they did it not to be a public piece so much, but they provided it to the 29 other teams so that they could use it to work with their municipalities to sort of show some of the best practices that we learned in the postseason last year. So, part of that is, we're very proud of that. And I think that it has been sort of a blueprint. I'll say this too, though, in full disclosure. Last year when we were preparing for the postseason, the Cowboys played their home opener on September 20th. And we have a great relationship with Todd Martin and the Cowboys team. So we actually had an opportunity. We were still in the regular season with no fans here at that time. But we had an opportunity to go over to AT&T Stadium and see how Todd and his team were putting together, their pod system. We looked at some of the signage they had at AT&T Stadium. We actually incorporated some of the sign locations that we saw there. So the collaboration, in the community, I think is also significant. So we do take a lot of pride in being able to lead the way, but we also understand that it comes with a big obligation too. Commissioner's office had made a decision coming into this year that they would leave fan attendance to local jurisdictions, local or state, whatever government or local authority was in position to make that announcement that would prevail in terms of how fans are treated. Now, MLB obviously still has protocols related to player health and safety. So, we're still, and they did give us recommendations for, buffer zone setback areas in specific areas of the ballpark that are close to players. So you might have seen over the weekend that we have plexiglass on top of each dugout. We have plexiglass around both bullpens. Those are directives from Major League Baseball specific to the player health and safety protocols, which are negotiated with the MLBPA. So there are some, so it's sort of a two-way street, but MLB has said from a fan perspective, we'll leave that to teams and their local jurisdictions to decide. On the player health and safety, that's negotiated with the Players Association. I mean, I can't wait to get Rangers fans in the building for a Rangers game. I mean, there's nothing better than that, and there's no better way to start it than opening day. On the other hand, we recognize that we still need to adhere to the good health and safety practices that we've had in place for the past year. We need fans to cooperate and work with us to make sure that, that we don't infect others. That's the last thing that we would want to happen here. So, it's sort of a double-edged sword. I am really, I can't overstate, I really am excited about the ability to play open for a number of reasons. I mean, it is a great experience with the roof open here. We pointed a lot to the ability to have climate control and everything when we get to the latter part of the year and the weather gets warmer. I know we'll all enjoy the closed roof then. But for a traditional Rangers opening day, to have the roof open, the sun shining, and what we expect to be a full house is really exciting.
This year we're really concentrating, other than, some of the mainstays like the boomstick and our in-house smoked brisket, we're really concentrating on ballpark favorites. The Nolan Ryan hot dogs, the Tostitos chips, nachos, and Rico's cheese. The things that you hear in the song, the Cracker Jacks and peanuts and popcorn. Those are the things that, we're hoping that fans have been missing and are coming back to enjoy. But last year on March 11th, like John mentioned, we also introduced some new partnerships with Bahama Bucks, Golden Chick, Pluckers, all Texas brands that we're really proud to serve this year. During the exhibition game, it was the first time that Bahama Bucks was open, and I saw a ton of kids loving putting sprinkles on their snow cones, and it was an enjoyment to see. Also with Golden Chick, even though they were open during the postseason and rodeo, it was a limited menu. They now have their chicken tenders and their famous rolls back on the menu. And then, of course, who doesn't want to eat some Pluckers wings? So all those will be available in the stadium. They're mainly here on the main concourse, so we're proud to have those back. We also have some interesting stuff with retail. If you'll notice, and I don't know which direction you guys came from, but on the left center field, there's a new Jersey roller coaster. It has all the jerseys hung on it. It's 3 levels. It rotates around. You can pick a jersey. We'll customize it for you. We also laser engrave bats out there. So it's a real neat customization zone. But I think what the topic has been is, how are we going to play it safe? How are we going to serve food? What does it look like with our employees? And just like Rob said, all of our employees are required to wear masks. They're all wash their hands. We're provided information from health officials from the city of Arlington that we're following. They're told that if they don't feel well, they're not to come into work. We also take their temperature on the way in the building. So there's a lot of things that we're doing to stay safe with our employees. There's also things you'll notice, like in the past, our buffets used to be self-service. We now have attendants serving the food. We used to have condiment carts where you could get your own condiments. Now it's PC condiments that are served upon request. So there are a lot of things that you'll notice throughout the ballpark that, while they look the same, are different to help keep our fans and our employees safe. And one of those that was mentioned was the credit card only. We will accept all major credit cards, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, Tap to Pay. Also, along with the tickets, there's the MLB app, which now has a mobile wallet, and you can upload payments on there and go to any concession stand and use a QR code to pay. And like Rob said, there are 5 machines located throughout the stadium that if you did bring cash and not a credit card, you can have that switched out and get a credit card so that you can still purchase food, beverage, and retail. Along with that, technology continues to improve, and you'll notice throughout the ballpark we do have self-ordering kiosks with pickup windows for that contactless service. We also are adding mobile delivery in certain sections of the ballpark, and that's through the MLB app as well. So fans will see that when they go and log into the MLB app. That's powered by Venutize and Appetize, so that we can serve our fans that way. Along with that, you'll see that vendors used to be out in the seating bowl. If you were here at the postseason game or during the rodeo, that's not the case anymore. So what we are trying to substitute that with the mobile delivery, which allows somebody to pay on the app so that the vendor does not have to take cash, they don't have to take a credit card, and they don't have to stay out in the seating bowl the whole time. They are only going out there when a fan orders the food, and they go directly to them, drop it off, and go back out of the seating bowl. So as you'll see, we're trying to do some things like that to stay safe, to keep our fans coming to the ballpark, and to offer new things. I think the other thing is when you get too complicated with the food, the line times can be extended, and so we want to move the lines as quickly as possible so that we can continue to social distance, get the fans back to their seat, get them wearing their mask, and all those kind of things. So I think that may be the biggest part of it. But yes, I agree. We're trying to focus on who's coming to the ballpark, what we want to serve, and I think the focusing on ballpark favorites, really helps us with all those things. There's still an all-you-can-eat section in the upper deck. I believe it's about 2,000 fans that have access to that. But like I said, we will have attendants that are standing there serving you your portion. You no longer are scooping it or serving it yourself. We do encourage people to get their food and go back out to their seat, but there are some seating areas within the location as well as directly outside of the location that they can sit with their family or their individual group and eat their food.